Hey Bougie click. Why does the sight of a black woman in an interracial relationship trigger such intense reactions from other black women? Is it about cultural pride, or is there an underlying layer of insecurity and self-hate? In this video, we'll unravel these questions and more, exploring the intricate dynamics of internalized beauty standards and the real reasons behind the backlash. Join me as we confront the uncomfortable truths and celebrate the triumph of self-worth over societal constraints. This is more than just a conversation about love, it's about empowerment, choice, and redefining what it means to be desirable. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. Let's get into it.
I'ma make you a fan.
Unveiling the truth, black women, self-hatred, and interracial dating. Let's say what's been simmering beneath the surface for far too long. Some black women lose their minds when they see another black woman adored by a man of another race. And no, it's not about cultural pride, it's about insecurity and self-hate. These women have swallowed the lie that whiteness is the standard, and that love from non-black men is reserved for everyone but them. So, when they see you, soft, radiant, and chosen, they unravel. The glares, the gossip, the unsolicited dissertations on fetishization. They're not about you. They're about them not believing they're worthy. They can't wrap their minds around the idea that a man of another race could genuinely want a black woman. Not tolerate. Not fetishize. Want. Respect. Pursue. And when that man is successful, attractive, and intentional, it's a mirror they can't face. They'll accuse you of self-hate while secretly Googling how to attract high-value men of all races. They'll call you a bed wench while lying in bed alone, wondering why they're invisible to the very men they pedestal. The contradiction is loud. The jealousy is louder. And the self-hate? It's deafening. These are the same women who worship whiteness in their beauty routines, their dating preferences, and their social media algorithms, yet they'll drag you for stepping outside a box they secretly wish they could escape. The nastiest comments, the most venomous shade, and the midnight monologues aren't coming from Karens. They're coming from other black women who've made self-loathing a lifestyle and can't stand that you've opted out. They're mad that you're loved without apology. That you're chosen without compromise. That you're living proof that black femininity is desirable, magnetic, and worthy across every racial line. So, let's dissect this with precision. Because the real threat to black women in interracial relationships isn't external, it's internal. The call is coming from inside the house. And it's dripping in projection, envy, and unhealed wounds. The numbers don't lie, even if your frenemy does. Here's the statistical tea that'll make you clutch your edges. 63% of black women are unmarried, the highest percentage among all racial groups in America. Meanwhile, only 7% of black women marry outside their race, compared to 24% of black men. Now before you start typing black women are just loyal. Pause. A 2022 study on internalized racism and gendered colorism found that African American women show implicit preferences for lighter skin tones at rates that would make a MAC foundation counter blush. Beauty standards, the original scam. Research from Columbia University's examination of European beauty standards' impact on black women found that internalized self-hatred manifests most strongly in areas of romantic desirability. When you've been fed a steady diet of blonde and slim wins since birth, watching Keisha pull a white man while you're still swiping left becomes personal. Dr. Susan Bryan's research revealed that black women exposed to white beauty standards experienced damaged self-perception that directly affected their employment prospects, marital status, and mental health. So, when Imani from HR gets engaged to Connor, it's not just jealousy, it's a whole identity crisis dressed up as concern for the culture. The dating market reality check nobody ordered. Let's talk numbers that'll have you reconsidering everything. The median age at first marriage for black women has jumped from 23 in 1980 to 30 today. Factor in that 49% of black women have never been married, up from 42.7% in 2005, and suddenly that Facebook rant about bed wenches starts looking less like activism and more like projection. The Journal of Eating Disorders 2025 study on racialized body dissatisfaction found that black women's beauty concerns differ fundamentally from white women's. We're not just worried about weight, we're navigating skin tone, hair texture, and facial features in a market that wasn't designed for us. When pro-black becomes anti-self. Here's where the cognitive dissonance gets Olympic level. The same women preaching black love in the streets are lightening their skin. The American University study on internalized racism found that intragroup colorism among African Americans creates a fascinating paradox. We simultaneously uplift black beauty while maintaining hierarchies based on proximity to whiteness. So, when you see a dark-skinned black woman with Dylan from CrossFit, it short-circuits the whole system. How dare she transcend the very beauty politics we claim don't affect us? The uncomfortable mirror. Research on black women's self-perceptions following exposure to different beauty standards shows that those with higher racial identity scores actually experienced more distress when confronting their implicit biases. Translation: the more woke you think you are, the harder it hits when you realize you've internalized the very poison you preach against. That visceral reaction to seeing Aaliyah with Shane isn't about protecting blackness, it's about confronting your own perceived inadequacy in a rigged beauty game. The real gag. Here's what the research ultimately reveals: black women hating on interracial relationships isn't really about loyalty, culture, or even preference, it's about pain. When you've been systematically told you're the least desirable, watching another black woman be chosen by someone outside the race feels like betrayal because it challenges the narrative you've used to protect yourself. If nobody wants us, then how is she with him? If we're only valuable to our own, then what does her choice say about my worth? The plot twist nobody saw coming. The 2023 research on gendered racism in interracial relationships revealed something fascinating. 45% of black women in relationships with white men reported experiencing gendered racism from other black women more frequently than from their white partners' families. Let that marinate. We're literally more likely to catch heat from our own race than from Brad's problematic uncle at Thanksgiving. Time for a beauty politics detox. The solution isn't pretending these feelings don't exist or shaming women for having them. The research consistently shows that acknowledging internalized racism is the first step to healing it. When you feel that hot flash of anger seeing an interracial couple, ask yourself, am I protecting my culture, or am I projecting my insecurities? Am I uplifting black love, or am I policing black women's choices because I'm afraid of what those choices say about my own desirability? Natural hair derangement syndrome, when 4C hair pulls Brad. Now this is where the mental breakdown reaches soap opera levels. Picture it, you're at Whole Foods, edges laid by the finest Dominican salon, wearing your good wig that costs 3 car payments, and here comes Keisha with her type 4C TWA, teeny weeny afro, wide nose unchanged by contour, and lips that actually match her skin tone. On her arm? Bradley from Boston, who looks like he summers in the Hamptons. The cognitive dissonance alone could power a small city. Research from the Crown Research Study, 2023, found that black women with natural hair face employment discrimination at rates 80% higher than those with straightened styles. So when you see sis thriving with her kitchen exposed and chosen by someone society says should only want Becky? Baby, the group chat goes nuclear. She must be fetishizing herself, they'll type with fingers that just scheduled their next relaxer. He probably has jungle fever, they'll say, conveniently forgetting they just dropped $400 on Brazilian bundles to look presentable. The Journal of Black Psychology's 2024 study on texture discrimination revealed that black women who wear natural styles report experiencing more hostility from other black women than from any other demographic when in interracial relationships. Let that sink in. We're literally more pressed about Angela's afro attracting Andrew than Andrew's family is about him bringing her to the country club. Here's the gag that'll have you questioning everything. The same women screaming pick me at natural-haired sisters in interracial relationships have spent an average of $3,400 annually on hair straightening, skin lightening, and European feature-enhancing makeup. So who's really performing for the white gaze? The woman confidently rocking her coils with Connor, or the one hiding her hair texture while policing who deserves to be chosen? The research is brutal. Black women with more Afrocentric features who successfully date interracially trigger the deepest insecurities because they shatter the carefully constructed lie that you need to look mixed to be picked. If Ashley with the wide nose and kinky hair can get chose by someone high value, then what excuse do you have? Suddenly, all that time, money, and pain spent trying to look acceptable feels like a scam, because it is. The ultimate delusion, when other women actually want your man. Hold on to your lace fronts because this is where Black women's circuits completely fry, when you casually mention that Jessica from yoga was giving you dirty looks because you're with Justin, or that the hostess at the steakhouse suddenly couldn't find your reservation after seeing you walking with Roberto. Girl, you're imagining things, they'll say. Why would a white woman be jealous of you? The audacity of you believing, knowing, that women of other races see you as competition. How dare you think Brittany is bothered by you being with Blake? Don't you know the hierarchy? Haven't you internalized your place at the bottom like a good self-hating Black woman should? Here's the mathematics of madness. If white women are the beauty standard, line number 1, and Black women are undesirable, line number 2, then white women being threatened by Black women is impossible, line number 3. So when you share your lived experience of catching jealous glares at Trader Joe's, you must be lying. Because the alternative, that you're actually that girl and everybody knows it, would require dismantling years of internalized hatred. The Sociology of Race and Ethnicity Journal's 2023 research on racial threat in romantic contexts revealed that 67% of white women reported feeling concerned or uncomfortable when attractive Black women entered predominantly white dating spaces. The 2024 study on romantic threat perception across racial lines found that white women reported viewing Black women in relationships with white men as their highest competition threat, higher than other white women or any other racial group. Research from the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology's 2024 study on cross-racial mate competition found that women of all races exhibit territorial behaviors when high-status men from their racial group date interracially. But here's the plot twist that'll have you gagged. European American women showed the highest levels of mate guarding anxiety when their male counterparts dated Black women specifically. The study noted this was particularly pronounced when the Black woman displayed confidence and natural features. But try telling that to a Black woman deep in her self-hate era. She'll accuse you of centering whiteness while literally centering white women's supposed superiority in her own mind. But try explaining this to someone whose entire self-worth is built on the lie that Black women are at the bottom of the desirability hierarchy. They'll believe white and other non-Black women are universally more desired, false, that men of other races would never genuinely choose a Black woman, demonstrably false, but somehow, you're the delusional one for noticing when Samantha from spin class is suddenly too busy to grab smoothies after you mention your man's name is Brad. The psychological mechanics are fascinating and tragic. Accepting that Hannah is heated about you and Logan would mean accepting that you're worth being heated about. It would mean those years of believing nobody wants us except Black men, who statistically aren't choosing us, were wasted on a lie. It would mean maybe, just maybe, you bought into a hierarchy that doesn't actually exist outside of your own head. So instead, they choose violence. You're centering yourself, they'll screech, while literally centering white women as the only ones worthy of male attention. Not everything is about race, they'll insist, despite having entire Pinterest boards dedicated to swirl couple goals that mysteriously only feature ambiguous-looking Black women. The projection is so bright it could guide ships to shore. The 2023 research on cross-racial romantic competition found that Black women who acknowledged experiencing jealousy from non-Black women scored higher on every metric of self-esteem, relationship satisfaction, and mental health. Meanwhile, those who denied these dynamics, significantly higher rates of anxiety, depression, and relationship insecurity. Turns out lying to yourself about your own desirability has consequences. Who would have thought? But here's the part that'll have them calling you delusional when you're genuinely unbothered by their disbelief. When you know Madison is mad, whether they believe it or not. When you catch those glares at brunch and simply smile, because his choosing you already told the whole story. That level of security in a Black woman who shouldn't have it? That's what really breaks their brains. The research on beauty capital across racial lines found that Black women who recognize their own desirability and verbalize experiences of inspiring jealousy are often gaslit by other Black women more than any other group. It's giving crabs in a barrel with a PhD in projection. How dare you think you're worthy of envy when they've spent their whole lives believing they're worthy of pity? The saddest part? These same women will post Black girls rock memes while telling you you're delusional for thinking Madison is mad about you and Mason. They'll scream about Black excellence while refusing to believe Black women can excel in spaces that trigger white feminine anxiety. The cognitive dissonance is so loud it needs its own noise ordinance. The truth is, believing your competition requires believing you're valuable. And when you've spent years protecting yourself from disappointment by accepting less than, someone else's abundance feels like assault. Your confidence doesn't compute because their entire operating system runs on insecurity. You're not just dating Kyle, you're demolishing the very foundation their self-hatred is built on. The real tea nobody wants to sip, desirability politics. Let's stop playing in everybody's face and say what this is really about. Some Black women are big mad that you're simply more desirable than they are. Period. Point blank. End of story. And before the pick-me chorus starts warming up, let's look at the receipts. The 2024 research on intersexual competition among Black women found that perceived desirability differentials were the #1 predictor of negative attitudes toward other Black women's romantic choices. Translation: the madder she is about you dating Ethan, the more she secretly knows you're out here winning in ways she can't. It's not about racial loyalty, it's about you having the audacity to be chosen when she's still getting ghosted on Hinge. Here's the algorithmic breakdown that'll have them deactivating their socials. Attractiveness isn't just about features, it's about confidence, energy, and that je ne sais quoi that has men of all races choosing you. When you walk into a room radiating pretty privilege energy while they're still trying to convince themselves they're equally beautiful, the contrast is violent. You're not following the script that says Black women should be grateful for any attention. You're out here with options, and that reality is undefeated. The psychology is textbook: humans compare themselves to similar others. So when Lakeisha, who looks just like them, is getting flown to Santorini by Sergio while they're getting WID texts from Dusties, the cognitive dissonance demands resolution. Option A: admit maybe they need to level up their desirability. Option B: convince themselves, and everyone else, that Lakeisha is a self-hating bedwench. Guess which one protects their ego? Here's what really has them shaking: you don't just have a man of another race, you have that man. The one with the good job, emotional intelligence, and parents who actually welcomed you at Thanksgiving. You're not the fetish, the experiment, or the "I've always wanted to try." You're the girlfriend getting introduced as future wife material. That level of choosing? That's what turns their concern for the culture into pure, uncut jealousy. They know this. They see this. They hate this. Because admitting it would mean admitting that their singleness isn't about loyalty to Black love, it's about their own desirability deficits they refuse to address. So yes, sis is big mad that you're more desirable. Mad that confidence can't be bought at Sephora. Mad that pretty privilege isn't just about pretty, it's about knowing you deserve to be chosen and moving accordingly. Mad that while she's writing dissertations about why you're problematic, you're being proposed to. The jealousy is so loud it needs its own Netflix special. The unforgiving mirror: Black love and misplaced jealousy. Some Black women would rather see you abused by a Black man than romantically treasured by a non-Black man. They'd rather you suffer for the culture than thrive and love. They'd rather maintain their position as perpetual victims than celebrate your victory. Because your happiness highlights their self-imposed misery, and baby, that mirror is unforgiving. When you'd rather see a Black woman endure go back to Africa at Chad's family dinner than watch her get treated like the goddess she is, you've transcended regular jealousy and entered the realm of active evil. These women will literally screenshot racist comments under interracial couples' photos to say, "See? I told you they don't really want you," finding sick validation in another Black woman's pain because it confirms their worldview that we're unworthy of cross-cultural desire. They need you to suffer because your suffering proves their thesis, that stepping outside black love only brings pain. But here's the sinister part they won't admit: victimhood became their whole personality, and your victory threatens their entire identity structure. They've spent years building a narrative around being unwanted, rejected, passed over for others. They've created entire support groups, hashtags, and healing circles around this shared wound. Your happiness doesn't just challenge their beliefs, it invalidates their entire reason for existing in this space. If you can be chosen, cherished, and celebrated by a man they swore would never see your value, then what have they been crying about? The mirror you hold up doesn't just show them their jealousy, it shows them their choices. It reveals that maybe, just maybe, they're not single because all the good black men date white women or because other races don't want us. Maybe they're single because they radiate the very bitterness, insecurity, and hatred they project onto everyone else. The bottom line that'll have you shook. Self-hatred dressed up as cultural pride is still self-hatred. The research is clear: black women's negative reactions to interracial relationships correlate strongly with internalized beauty hierarchies, not with actual commitment to black empowerment. You can't simultaneously believe black women are queens while thinking we're not good enough for anyone except the men who statistically aren't choosing us at equal rates. The next time you feel pressed about Zuri dating Preston, remember, her choice isn't a statement about your worth. But your reaction? That's telling the whole story about how you see yourself in a world that profits from our self-doubt. The real revolution isn't about keeping black women in boxes labeled for black men only, it's about recognizing our worth. Pretty privilege is about believing you deserve to be chosen by a good man of any race because real beauty defies racial lines. And until we detox from these beauty politics that have us fighting each other instead of the system that created them, we'll stay losing a game that was rigged from the start. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the complex dynamics of self-perception, beauty standards, and interracial dating among black women. We've unpacked a lot today, from the painful truths about internalized self-hatred to the triumph of self-worth and love that knows no racial boundaries. If this conversation resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. I want to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below and let's keep this dialogue going. Remember, the journey towards self-love and acceptance is ongoing, and every step forward is a victory. Until next time, take care and stay empowered. What do you think? Do most black women hate themselves? Let me know in the comments section. Stay bougie. Follow and support me. All links in bio. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check description for more info. New episodes every day.